Welcome to the first ever 365 podcast. We're here with our Director of Product, Ryan, and our CEO, Joe Hessling. My name is Dylan. I'll be your host today for this podcast event. Thanks for being here, guys. We're upgraded our software market backend. We're pretty stoked to be doing this. So we're looking to just get some teaser into what our audience can expect from us for the future, things to come. So we'll just go ahead and get this rolling. I've got a few questions here. We'll keep the responses tidy, not too lengthy. But if you go over, I'll sound this fun buzzer we've got here.
Yes, good one.
Love it.
All right, so here we go. So why don't you guys go ahead and tell us about V5 and the differences between our valet software.
Yep.
You take that one, Ryan?
Yeah, I've got that one. So the first thing that people notice about V5 is how approachable it is. There really is no wrong way to use it, and we've completely redesigned every single screen. V5 takes advantage of new on-screen animations that point at the fingerprint reader or barcode scanner when needed and show the consumer exactly what they need to do at any given time. V5 is also built on the most current modern-day technology, allowing us to build new features that Valet never had. And some of those things that are my favorites are the menus that we have. So a lot of operators have been struggling with non-barcoded candy and not having enough buttons. We've solved that. We have the new search functionality. So for damaged barcodes, operators can find, consumers can find the products that they need, even if the food barcode gets smudged in the cooler. We have new on-screen commercials that the operator can upload on their own without needing anybody in 365 that play on the idle screen. We have on-kiosk inventory, which a lot of operators who can't use their phones in certain places or don't want to have to carry a handheld have been asking for. We have bundling, one of our new promotional features that everybody's been asking for. Seaboard Blackboard student card support just came out as well. And then lastly, our multilingual capability that lets us have a language like Spanish for the whole user interface, not a Spanglish, English, Spanish at the same time. So that's really exciting. And not just Spanish, we also have German, Italian, Swiss, German, and more to come next year.
Wow.
And from a different perspective, from what I see, the real need for this came and comes from different architecture. So it really has a different architecture altogether from a services architecture versus something like a big application. So those who've used Valet in the past, they know that it's great, it's workhorse, it does what it's supposed to do, but we had to break it up to be able to get where we're going to. So we had to take the payments and put that into one service. We had to put the database and have that be separate, and product in different ways. So the way that we architect it really changes a lot of the performance. We've moved some of the database hosting to AWS. So really looked at it from a different lens than what we looked at in the past. We've got about 15,000 of the valets out. We're looking at how do we get to another 100,000.
Good timing. All right. I guess we'll play the horn. Nice.
Oh, I like it. Get the alarm first and then the DJ Colin. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Well, Ryan, you're talking about the having to do some redesign of it. Where did the new look and feel kind of come from? Like, what was the inspiration for this?
Yeah, so as Joe mentioned, we were fortunate to have about 15,000 kiosks out there that we could go and observe people using and what worked and what didn't work with what we did in Valet. And so we began by watching the way consumers and even drivers interacted with Valet, most importantly where they might have gotten stuck or didn't know what to do. And the goal of V5 was to make it as quick and easy and intuitive as possible to scan and pay for a product. That was really the core mission of the V5 design. And so we spent a great deal of time making sure each screen had context, meaning that it was clear what the next step or action was to move a consumer or a driver through the process. So again, it was just very intuitive and nobody got stuck wondering what do I need to do next to get through this experience.
And for, I always love to pull out the history lesson. In 2014, I asked the group that was there, what should we do? Where should we focus our energies on to be able to look towards the future. And it was Ryan who he had 3 words. It was mobile, mobile, mobile. And that was really where we started looking at V5. V5 was many iterations to become what it is today, but it did start out as mobile app. We launched the first MicroMarket app in the industry in 2014. Hard to believe, 5 years ago, nobody wanted it, nobody used it, but we launched it at NAMA, but that design and that intuitive nature that Ryan just talked about really comes from mobile. If you think about what we do as a business, we are a self-service checkout company, and there's nobody there to tell you how to use it. There's nobody there to explain it. There's nobody there to give you help if you need it. Mm-hmm. And same thing with a mobile phone. You don't have that luxury. So since you don't, you need to be able to make everything as easy and intuitive as you can. And that's why we dragged from that early inspiration of mobile at Ryan's suggestion to where we came up today. And it's very similar. It's very similar to be able to say somebody can just walk up, use it, and walk away. And that was our goal, and we strive to continue to do that.
Nice. Okay. So when we have all these cool features, the updated UI, so why do you think operators should upgrade to V5? Are there any other benefits they receive from doing that?
Yeah, so aside from the features that I've already mentioned, I think it's probably the things that you can't see under the hood that make us so excited about V5. V5 is really written from the ground up with a focus on stability and scalability, something we didn't have to worry about back in 2011 when we first came out with Valet. And we can't forget about ADM too. That's the other thing that we're also excited about, the system that powers V5, which is our new back-end system that controls the entire connected campus line of products, including V5. So again, I think the scalability and the stability and the things that we can do in the future with V5 are a great reason why you'd want to upgrade.
When Ryan mentioned 2011 as the date of when we launched V5, but really Valet really goes back to about 2005. Dylan, you were 4 years old at the time. Melissa wasn't even born yet, but in 2005 really is when Valet was being written first. And so if you can imagine the changes that have taken place since 2005 in technology, in 2011 is when we really launched and started to sell the product to people at 365. But the real architecture was back from those days. And so, and it all of a sudden got extremely popular. From 2011, 2012, 13, 14, we just sold thousands and thousands and thousands each year. So it ended up being out of control. We just kept on, focusing on growing and fulfilling the need. Well, we had to stop and start over to be able to do that. So for all those reasons, for the stability, for the newest security, V5 is the most secure technology in the MicroMarket space, hands down. The speed, the fastest, hands down. We compare it from Valet to V5. That's one thing. If you can compare V5 to anything else in the marketplace, it's hands down easy win. Is why people would do that. And all of the big companies in the marketplace are doing that. They are all moving towards that. Our biggest customers have all switched over to exclusively buying the V5 platform because they see the value in it. Yeah, another one.
Ryan, you mentioned ADM as the back end for V5. Everyone's used to Smart HQ. Can you tell us the differences between the two?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the early days, ADM really just powered our ReadyTouch line of cafeteria products, and we've been expanding it to do more and more. And as I mentioned, it controls the V5 software. And probably the biggest change that you'll see there is the speed, namely around the reporting. We've heard from our operators that scan and pay is important to the consumer, but reporting for them is equally important. And so the reports that you view on ADM, as well as the upcoming data warehouse, will be noticeably faster and get you the info that you need to make the decisions you need to make. And also with the pick list, we're going to be adding a lot of additional features to that in the coming months, things like forecasting, the ability to edit the PARs a little bit faster across your entire network of stores. And many of our customers are using ADM today. Our big ones, as Joe mentioned, they're exclusively buying V5. And as I mentioned, ADM started with ReadyTouch, but it controls the new MicroMarket, the 365 beacon, as well as ReadyTouch. And we're looking forward to helping more of our operators get there in 2019, because we're going to be offering a way to transition from SmartHQ to ADM, even connecting your existing Valet kiosk to ADM, so that even if you choose to continue with Valet for the consumer, you can leverage a lot of the powerful reporting and administrative tools that ADM brings to the table.
And Ryan brought up some great points there that I think just don't get discussed enough, is that our largest customers are creeping towards majority of their business being markets. That's a huge, for businesses that are $100 million in revenue plus, that a majority of their businesses are becoming markets. What's happening is our software and our back end, our reporting is more and more important to them. So we don't really pay attention to that, nor do we, nor do we consider it until we start to hear facts like that. And in the past, markets were just a portion of a vending business. Well, now it's a markets business that has some vending. In some cases, we have markets only, and some very large markets only customers. And so they rely on our back-end systems for their entire business. And so another reason why you switch from Valet to V5 is because we are devoting 95% of all of our energies and development dollars and research into the future of V5. Just in time. I knew it.
So you guys are talking about updates and Joe mentioned industry trends, where companies are going. I imagine these updates and upgrades are aligning with those, or are we shaping them in some form?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the theme was scan and pay quickly, easily, intuitively, and I think that ease of use is definitely an industry trend. How do you remove the friction from the buying process? I just want a Snickers or a Coke. Don't make it complicated to do that, and as Joe said, there's not somebody there, a cashier, so it has to be easy to use and understand. Also, I think the consistency between the kiosk, the app, the MicroMarket, really our entire line of products is really essential to the connected campus, and you see a lot of POS companies and others trying to chase that vision of learn it once and then use it everywhere, and I think we've gotten there in pretty short order, and we have some room to improve, but it's there today and looks the same. And then the versatile payment options. We just came out with the new encrypted credit card reader that takes Apple and Google Pay. That's obviously an industry trend. We launched our 365 Pay app with Apple Pay and Google Pay built in, so that you can move money from your credit card onto your global market account. And then lastly, I think just the global market account in general is an industry trend that a lot of people have been trying to catch. And that's this idea of a stored value account that works across a lot of different lines of businesses, whether that was vending, MicroMarket, food service, etc. There are a lot of over-the-top services that provide this for additional cost and complexity. And I think GMA has kind of brought the sizzle of one account to the masses in a way that makes it very accessible and easy to administer.
And piggybacking on that, I think that there's one thing that a lot of people in the past, to accomplish something like the connected campus and one payment method across various points of sale, it has required significant hardware and recurring investment, because you have to add on different hardware to different devices to be able to recognize these methods of payment, and then they have to pull them into a separate backend, which have to be integrated to another backend. With the 365 system, it is part of the benefit of the platform. So there's a huge savings to be able to do that, and that becomes from great architecture, great foresight, great product building, and so on. And finally, along the lines of of the updates and the upgrades. The payments are one thing, but the reporting is another. Having one back end to be able to do everything from is something that hasn't been available in the past. It's available now, and I think operators really appreciate that.
That was close.
Hey,
That was very
I can
close.
wrap it up when I need to.
Yeah, we're gonna do time out for a second.
Anyway, all right. So with all these fun new updates and crazy ideas coming, can you kind of give us some insight on what can come to expect at NAMA?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started planning the next NAMA the minute this year's NAMA ended, and because we know it'll be here before you know it, and we have a few different things we're working on that I think our customers are going to love, that we'll actually be launching and demonstrating for the first time at NAMA 2019. One of them is a new version of our AirVen device that will do a lot more than the AirVen device today does. And we'll talk a lot more about what those things are at NAMA, and we look forward to sharing that. We're going to have some new security features for our new March Networks DVR that we began offering late this year to help combat shrink and theft and kind of stay along the lines of helping our operators with that theft theme of minimizing it as much as they can. We're going to be relaunching the 365 Pay app and demonstrating some new ways to connect with your consumers and maybe do some couponing and things like that. We're going to be expanding into 12 additional countries next year, so we're going to be showing some of that at NAMA. And then lastly, with our ReadyTouch line of products for the cafeteria space, we're going to be adding a bunch to that leading up to NAMA, including a customer display so they can see the total as it's being rung up, a new NFC reader so that you can accept Apple Pay and Google Pay in the cafeteria, and a few other things that we'll keep secret until then. So those are the main things for NAMA 2019.
Yeah, I think as a whole at NAMA, just not in 365, you're going to see a lot of more of a move towards going smaller. I think a lot of our competitors in the space think it's okay to just put an app out and that solves the problem. And boy, we thought the same thing in 2014. But had they come to us and asked us our opinion in 2015, we would have said, probably not a good idea right now, because our operators don't necessarily think that way. They think they'd like to have the app as something to use, but they want to have a lot of different things to do that, to apply along with it. So we're looking at smaller ways of attacking the marketplace that still require hardware, because it seems like that is important to the operators that we work with. We also will, you can expect to focus on advertising and promotions. We will have our partnership with Advana by that time released to everybody, and by the time people hear this, so it's something that's very interesting as well. Oh, I'm not done. I'm not done.
All right.
We got another. What you're going to see at basketball is you're going to see a lot of cool people doing awesome tricks on a basketball court. So we need some, at NAMA we're going to need to get some, we got a great charity basketball game that benefits the NAMA Foundation. And so we have a website that you can go and look at. I don't know the website address right now, but we'll promote that at some point. And in it, you'll be able to sign up to be able to play basketball. And Dylan, I know you got a wicked sky hook, so I will look to see you out on the parquet courts.
Thanks for being very generous with that description there. Not good. Finally, what is on the horizon for 365 in 2019? What are we can we look forward to?
So I would say it's about helping our operators capture every opportunity that they want to. I talked about global market accounts and the different devices we have. We really think we've got a hardware or a piece of software that fits any client size, whether it be 5 people or 5,000 people. And as Joe mentioned, we're investing a lot into V5, MicroMarket, ADM, that new platform, to bring a solution to every client you want to bring it to. And I think that's the biggest thing in 2019, is really not just focusing on big MicroMarkets, but focusing on every client in your backyard with the solution that we have.
Really, for the horizon for us, I think in a macro perspective at 365 is we're going to be providing more insight, and as we provide more insight into what you should do, how to do things, what is best for you, based upon all the information that we know, we're going to be able to offer more revenue generating opportunities, and we're going to look to drive the costs of an overall micro market down by providing additional values that weren't in there in the past. And so that's a big focus of me and the executive team. And from a 365 perspective, what we're looking to do within our walls, and we just had a recent leadership meeting where we discussed this, gives people an idea of where our head's at, of where we need to be focused on as a provider. And we're looking for a pathway in 2019 for 100% uptime. And when you've got, we do over $1 billion a year in sales through our machines, each of our machines. Probably more of that when you add them all together. But through 20,000 plus devices out there being open 24/7 and in half a dozen countries and growing every day, and that's hard to do. So, but we're looking at that as a real big focus of ours to have 100% uptime. For our customers. Also, that leads into the potential for what we need to do to provide 100% customer satisfaction. So what do we as an organization need to do and to pay attention to? Ryan's team is going to be doing a lot with that and focusing on the customer and getting to know them better and what they use. And finally, 100% team satisfaction. How do we, as an executive team and as a leadership group, spend our time on making sure that the team at 365 is 100% satisfied with their job, their careers, and what they're doing. We believe that those three things put together will make it better for our customers in general. That's what we're focused on for 2019. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining me here today. I know you got busy days going on, but it's always nice to see you. Hear you rather. With the little folk. Cool. Well, I hope everyone here liked what they heard. If you're looking forward to more of the podcast, be sure to comment and let us know. Go ahead and follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, all the good stuff. Thank you, everyone.
Cool.
See you next
Thank
time.
you. Happy 2018.
Nice. Crushed it.